Hello, everyone, and welcome to our second season premiere of Two Girls in the Dark. I'm your host, Rachel.
And I'm your other host, Pooja.
We moved, new apartment, can barely tell.
Yeah, we look exactly the same. Look at him up there. Always watching.
Today, we're going to be going over the really unsettling case of the Springfield Three. These were three women, Suzie Streeter, her friend Stacy McCall, and Suzie's mom, Sherrill Levitt, who disappeared without a trace one night from their home in June 1992.
Yeah, Rachel, this is going to be a really tough one. This case is often regarded as, one of those really, really tough mysteries because there's nothing to go on, but it's sad and mysterious nonetheless. So what do you say?
Let's get started. But before we do, we're really excited to come back for season 2. And if you're liking what we're doing, please like, comment, subscribe, leave a review, share, however people get the word out there about podcasts.
We're on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Where else are we, Rachel, these days?
There are a couple other places that I don't know because I set up an RSS feed. Anyway, let's get into it. June 6th, 1992, Springfield, Missouri. It's high school graduation day at Kickapoo High School, and two young women, Suzie Streeter and Stacy McCall, are enjoying the parties and festivities. After attending the ceremony, the two plan to meet up with their friend, Janelle Kirby, for a party at their neighbor's house. Suzie's mom, 47-year-old Sherrill Levitt, declines to attend the dinner with the Kirby family, but knows how to get into contact with her daughter if need be. Suzie, Stacy, and Janelle plan to drive down to a Branson motel to spend the night and meet up with friends the next morning at a water park in Whitewater. But Stacy's mother warned the girls against driving and drinking at night. Stacy promised to call her mother in the morning, and Suzie promised to call a friend, Nigel Kenny, to meet in Whitewater. Once the girls arrived at Janelle's house, they began to party with her neighbors in Battlefield before changing their original plans and carpooling to other parties in Springfield. At 10 p.m., Stacy called her mother to tell her that her plans had changed and that they wouldn't be going to Branson but would meet up in Whitewater the following morning. The last party that the girls attended was at the house of a friend of Stacy's, Michelle Elder, which was broken up by Springfield police at 1:30 a.m. Suzie, Stacy, and Janelle all returned to Janelle's house in Battlefield at 2 a.m. The three of them planned to spend the night at Janelle's house, but upon realizing that the house was too crowded with out-of-town relatives for their graduations, Suzie and Stacy decided to return to Suzie's house at 1717 East Delmar Street to spend the night. It is believed that the two arrived at the house on Delmar Street because their clothes, jewelry, purses, and cars were all found the next day. Meanwhile, Suzie's mother, Sherrill, had been at her house all night and was last heard from at around 11:15 p.m. on June 6th when she talked with a friend on the phone about painting and varnishing an armoire in her bedroom. The following day at 9 a.m., Janelle and her boyfriend, Mike Henson, arrived at Suzie's house after she and Stacy failed to show up at her house to drive to Whitewater. Janelle found the home's front door unlocked and entered, but found no sign of Suzie, Stacy, or Sherrill, despite each of the women's cars parked outside. Janelle also told police that the glass lampshade on the porch light was shattered, although the light bulb was intact. Janelle and Henson swept the broken glass off the porch, which Henson claimed they did because Janelle was barefoot. Inside the house, the two found Sherrill and Stacy's dog, a Yorkshire Terrier named Cinnamon, who appeared very agitated. As they were leaving the house, Janelle answered a phone call from an unidentified male who made sexual innuendos. They called again, made another vulgar comment, and Janelle hung up. Janelle remembered Stacy complaining that they had been receiving prank calls at the house since she had moved back in with her mother in the spring of 1992. Several hours later, Stacy's mom Janice also visited the house after her daughter failed to answer her calls. Janice confirmed that Cinnamon was crying. She noticed all three women's purses were sitting on the floor of Suzie's bedroom. Sherrill's purse still contained a cash deposit of almost $900 from her job at the hair salon. Stacy's clothes were also neatly folded from the night before. However, Her shirt and underwear were still missing. She found recently used makeup wipes in the bathroom trash can, as well as jewelry and keys. Suzie and Sherrill, who according to friends and family were chain smokers, had left their cigarettes behind. The lights were off in Suzie's room and her television was showing snow, suggesting that they had perhaps watched a movie the night before, but never turned the TV off once it finished. Janice called the police from the house. After placing the call, she checked the phone's answering machine and listened to a strange message, but it was accidentally erased, as was common for most voicemails in the 1990s after being played once. Police believed this call may have contained a clue and did not believe it was connected to the prank calls Janelle had received while in the house a few hours prior. At the point that Janice had called the police, it had been 16 hours since the girls were last officially seen. Other friends and family called and visited the house throughout the following day, with about 10 to 20 people visiting, tidying up the residence, which included emptying ashtrays and cleaning coffee cups. Springfield Police Department's Rick Bookout recalled that upon arriving at the house, the first thing he noticed were people in the yard, the door open, and people coming and going from inside the house. The scene showed no signs of a struggle except for the shattered porch light. They also noted that Sherrill's bed had looked slept in, and a window blind had been left awkwardly bent. All personal property, including money, cars, driver's licenses, keys, medicine, cigarettes, and their dog Cinnamon, had been left behind in the residence. Sherrill had a doctor's appointment scheduled for Monday, June 8th, and was also scheduled to work later that week at the New Attitudes hair salon. Stacy was also scheduled to work that Monday at the Springfield Gymnastics Center, and Suzie was scheduled to work at a local movie theater on Tuesday, June 9th. None of the three women arrived for these dates. On December 31st, 1992, a man called the America's Most Wanted hotline with information on the disappearance, but the call was disconnected when a switchboard operator tried to connect with Springfield investigators. Police said that the caller had prime knowledge about the abductions and publicly appealed for the man to contact them, but he never called again. Investigators later received a tip from someone who either claimed to be psychic or claimed to have had a dream or vision about the case. This tip claimed that the women's bodies were buried in the foundations of the south parking garage at Cox Hospital in Springfield. In 2007, crime reporter Kathy Baird invited mechanical engineer Rick Norland to scan a corner of the parking garage with ground-penetrating radar. He found 3 anomalies that were all about the same size and were consistent with the gravesite location. 2 of the anomalies were parallel to each other, and the other was perpendicular. Springfield police said that the person who reported the tip did not provide any evidence or logical reasoning behind this theory, and that construction on the parking garage began in September 1993, 15 months after the women had disappeared, and if they had been buried there, construction workers would have likely found their bodies in the process. Because digging up the area would have been costly, and because the tip did not come with hard evidence, investigators determined that the lead was not credible and did not move forward with it. There have been a number of suspects thought to be responsible for the women's disappearance. Sherrill had a son, Bart Streeter, who did not live with her, and she was not close with. However, he was ruled out as a suspect early in the case. Another suspect is Suzie's former boyfriend, Dustin Rekla. He had broken into a mausoleum a few months prior to the disappearance and stole $30 worth of gold fillings from a skull. Police had considered him a suspect because Suzie had given investigators a statement about the break-in and was rumored to be a witness against him in court. Rekla and 2 of his friends that had helped in the robbery were confirmed to be in the area the night the women went missing. Suspected serial killer Larry Dwayne Hall traveled around the Midwest for Civil War reenactments and is believed to have abducted, raped, tortured, and murdered dozens of girls and women. Wilson's Creek National Battlefield is located just 5 minutes from where Janelle's residence was, and there were 2 battle reenactments on the day of June 6, 1992, in Pleasant Hope, Missouri, 30 minutes north of Springfield. Former FBI operative Jimmy Keene was tasked with befriending Hall in prison and gaining his trust. Hall admitted to specific details about many of his murders and graphic details that no one but the killer could have known. In 1997, convicted kidnapper and robber Robert Craig Cox told journalists that he knew the 3 women had been murdered and buried and claimed their bodies would never be recovered. He had been living in Springfield in 1992 and had worked with Stacy's father at a local car dealership. He told investigators that he was with his girlfriend at church on the morning after the women disappeared, which his girlfriend corroborated. She later recanted her statement and said that Cox had asked her to say that he was. Cox also said that he was at his parents' house the night of the disappearance, which they confirmed. Investigators could not confirm if Cox was really involved or if he was seeking recognition by issuing false statements. Gerald Carnahan was also considered a strong suspect in the women's disappearance. Carnahan would be convicted for the 1985 rape and murder of Jackie Johns. He had several other convictions and also had ties with the Galloping Goose motorcycle gang, who had been rumored to have ties with the case, particularly through the connection to member Stephen Garrison, a convicted rapist who police said gave credible information about the 3 women. As of 2026, both Carnahan and Garrison are serving prison sentences. A witness reported observing a woman matching Suzie's description driving an older model moss green Dodge van later during the day on June 7th. The witness claimed that the woman looked terrified as an unseen male voice told her don't do anything stupid. The witness did not contact authorities until several days had passed. Additional witnesses reported seeing the Dodge van in different areas of Springfield in the coming days. A man told investigators that he saw a blonde female sitting in the driver's seat of a similar vehicle in a grocery store parking lot. He had written down the van's license plate number as it appeared suspicious, but he threw it away before contacting investigators. The man agreed to be hypnotized, but was only able to provide the first 3 digits of the plate. A server at George's Steakhouse, one of Sherrill's favorite restaurants, reported seeing the women between 1 and 3 a.m. on June 7th. The employee claimed that the 3 arrived and left together. She said that Suzie appeared to have been intoxicated as they left, and Sherrill was trying to calm her down. This sighting has never been confirmed. Suzie Streeter, Stacy McCall, and Sherrill Levitt have not been seen or heard from since that early morning on June 7th. Suzie and Sherrill were legally declared dead in 1997. Every episode, I always freak out that I don't know what I'm talking about.
You know what you're talking. I don't know what I'm talking about. In this particular scenario, though, Rachel, does anybody know what they're talking about?
I don't think anybody knows what they're talking about, including people who said that they know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Nobody knows.
There's a lot of theories that somebody knows what they're talking about, but they're actually not talking about it. And I think those are the ones where I'm like, why would nobody say anything about this?
Somebody knows the truth. Cinnamon, the dog.
R.I.P.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Well, I don't think he's... by now, Cinnamon's dead.
Okay, Rachel. There's really no place else to start with this one other than the top. What happened to them? What do we think happened to them?
So we know that Suzie and Stacy at least reached Suzie's house because both of their cars were parked in the driveway when authorities got there. And that's about all we know.
When people talk about it, a lot of people are like, they could have disappeared on the night of June 6th, but they also could have disappeared on the morning of June 7th. And I'm like, isn't it very clearly the morning of June 7th?
Yeah, I think that like depending on how you talk about time, because the mornings, the late nights kind of evolve into the early morning. So I think that probably leads to some confusion there.
Right.
But,
so like someone might say, oh, I haven't seen Suzie since the night of June 6th. That's kind of like the colloquialism that leads to, okay, sure, that's fair.
Yeah.
Because I think like that is the last time they were seen. Was that?
They were last seen at Janelle's graduation party. Yeah, Stacy and Suzie, they left Janelle's house shortly after 2 a.m., which means that they would have arrived at Suzie's house at some point between 2:15 and 2:30 a.m.
Yeah, and where they parked, it's too specific for someone to have been like, oh, I'm going to drive to Suzie mom's house. Is that where they ended up?
Suzie mom.
Suzie mom.
So Sherrill is Suzie's mother.
Correct.
Yeah.
Right, but it's not like someone could have taken the girl. You know what I mean? Like taking the girl.
Yeah, it wasn't like they kidnapped them and then meticulously brought both cars over there.
I'm not a kidnapper, but that's a waste of time.
That just seems like opportunity for someone to see you.
Right.
And at the graduation party, nothing seemed out of the ordinary. They were happy. They just graduated high school. Who wouldn't be happy? They were in good spirits. Nothing indicated that anything was wrong or that anything was going to happen.
And the next day, they came to get the girls to go whitewater raft.
No, they're
going to a place called Whitewater.
Yeah.
I don't know what people do in Missouri.
Yeah, so the next morning, they had plans to go to Whitewater, a water park in a town called Whitewater. And going to Suzie's house was a relatively last-minute decision because they realized once they got to Janelle's house after being at parties all night that Janelle had relatives from out of town and that there wasn't really anywhere for them to sleep. So they decided to go back to Suzie's house.
Right.
It seems less likely that Stacy would have been the target.
Right.
Because winding up at Suzie's house really was a last-minute decision.
So it's either Suzie or her mom that was probably the target.
I mean, they're all unfortunate victims, but that one of them was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. I'm leaning towards more it being Suzie was the intended target. If one of them were specifically targeted, I am leaning more towards it being Suzie because Sherrill had been at the house all night. She declined to go to any of the parties, and she knew how to get in touch with her daughter. And it seemed like if someone wanted to attack Sherrill, why wouldn't you do it when the house is already empty?
Yeah, I mean, there is the factor that maybe Suzie and Stacy were unexpected at Sherrill's house.
Yeah.
So maybe there was a planned kind of attack on Sherrill, and that they just happened to take the two girls with them. But, you know, that is a lot to plan for. Why wouldn't you just recourse and say, okay, dude, come back tomorrow? So, I mean, I feel like because it happened at Sherrill's house, I'm more inclined to believe that the target was Sherrill.
But Suzie lived there. Like, it was also her.
It was also
her house, too.
I think the motive is obviously another thing nobody knows, which is why this case is so difficult.
Mm-hmm.
But what would have been the motive to target Sherrill over Suzie? I've read online a lot of theories. Something about drugs, Sherrill. Not sure why those two things would be connected.
Mm-hmm.
If she was like known for using anything or anything like that. Suzie was just in high school.
Yeah.
Like what I mean, look, a lot of creepy people target high school girls. Like that. Yeah. That's not a news story, but like
her boyfriend Dustin Rekla was robbing grave sites. Like, so not a
and this is actually another
ideal character.
This is another case that like I feel like they just probably got rid of a lot of potential suspects because of polygraph tests.
Well, one thing that I want to bring up is I feel like this was sort of in a similar vein to what happened with JonBenet Ramsey. Mm-hmm. I feel like this was like so biffed from the beginning. Maybe not intentionally by other than like it was a nice whole southern town and people were thinking that they were being helpful and saw that the porch light was broken and I'll help clean this up, and that like, you know, taking care of the house, thinking that they were helping when in reality they were probably destroying, if people had been in the house, that they were probably destroying evidence.
Well, another thing I was reading about was the way the house was left. Everything was folded. Mm-hmm. Their bags were in a row.
Their bathing suits were there, getting ready for the next day. Makeup had been in the garbage, so that at least indicates that Suzie and Stacy, that like they got back, they were taking off their makeup. The TV was on in the living room.
Yeah.
Sherrill's bed looked like it had been laid in. Yeah. One thing that I thought was interesting in how they found the house, and I've heard varying accounts of whether this was in Sherrill's bedroom or the living room, but either way, one of the windows, like a blind, was like cracked.
I've heard that too. Yeah.
So I wonder if someone was outside and maybe they knew, whoever was looking knew this person who was outside, went outside, and it just escalated from there, whether or not this person had done something or had a weapon, and that was what led the three of them to being taken away. Like if like let's say that Suzie recognized who was outside, went outside, a fight occurred, Stacy and Sherrill see what happens and go outside to confront this person, and then it just escalates.
But then you wonder, like, why didn't anybody hear the fight? Just because it was 3 a.m., nobody heard anything?
Yeah, actually, we know the address, right?
Yeah, and there's pictures of the house online. Insert.
We are in live time looking up on Google Maps. We're not going to get any questions answered. No, I saw the house. You could see, like, Zillow.
Are people living in that house?
I think so. People are living in the Menendez house. You could see on Zillow. This is creepy. You could see the Menendez house, and the room where Jose and Kitty Menendez were murdered is just, like, chilling on Zillow.
I guess that's what happens with houses, huh?
Yeah. My dad actually knew someone who knew them. And this is a tangent I'll try to keep short. But my dad said that he knew someone who knew the Menendez family because they lived in Princeton for a while.
Oh.
And said that, like, whenever Jose Menendez would, like, enter a room, Kitty would just, like, freeze up and be so different. That's an episode for another time.
Should your dad be a guest star on the show after you've
compared him to David Miscavige multiple times? He'll love that. A lot changes in 34 years. So I don't know how accurate this was to what it was when the women were abducted or disappeared. I'm pretty sure this warehouse was not there. But yeah, it looks like there would be neighbors. Yeah.
Neighbors. Like, it's a neighborhood. It's it's not in the middle of the woods. That's one thing. But, like, I think neighbors would have heard a fight, which is what the kind of insane thing is that the neighbors...
Sometimes people don't hear shit. I mean, Mike could sleep through literally anything. I had heard that people had reported hearing Cinnamon, the dog, outside at about 3 a.m. Once at 10 p.m. and then another time at 3 a.m. So if you're hearing a dog, you would think that you would also hear this scuffle, if there were a scuffle.
It's
right?
Also, like, some really methodical shit to, like, go in the house, silently tape the girls' mouths, take them outside. The only thing you forget is the dog barking.
Yeah.
And then they're gone.
Like, if the dog were making that much sound, you would think that they would do something to the dog to make that sound go away.
Right. Other thing about the window thing, I'm like, this is the kind of thing where it would have been great to know, like, is that just how the window was? Is that just how the shutters were? That's the kind of evidence where clearly they're grasping at straws on this case.
So you think that there was some cover-up in the town?
Yeah, there has to be. There's these theories about, like, these serial killers cruising through, and maybe that's who got him. What is the likelihood of that?
The weird thing with the serial killer route, the multiple serial killer routes, at various points, I would think, okay, maybe that would work. Suspected serial killer Larry Dwayne Hall traveled around the Midwest for Civil War reenactments with his twin brother, Gary. Parents are just setting them up for failure, naming them Larry and Gary.
Gary?
I wonder if Mark knew these people doing Civil War reenactments.
I didn't know he did that.
I don't know if he's ever done Civil War. He's really into the Civil War. I don't know if he's done reenactments. Mom, can you tell me if Mark ever did Civil War reenactments? Wilson's Creek National Battlefield is located just 5 minutes from where Janelle's house was, and there were 2 battle reenactments on the day of June 6, 92, in Pleasant Hope, Missouri, which was just 30 minutes away from Springfield. I mean, this would put them at Larry at the scene, like close enough. Hall also owned a Dodge van that we'll get into it in a little bit later that had possibly been tied to their disappearance. There were multiple sightings of the women possibly in a green Dodge van.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
He owned one that matched the descriptions. A witness had reported seeing Hall and his brother driving around town with the 3 women after the abduction. He took a lie detector and passed. He was never convicted of any crime associated with the Springfield Three.
And that person is a convicted serial killer.
He was a suspected serial killer. A convicted kidnapper and robber, Robert Craig Cox, told journalists that he knew 3 women had been murdered and buried and claimed that their bodies would never be recovered when he was giving them statements. And he actually knew Suzie because he had at one point in time worked not closely with, but at the same car dealership as Stacy's father. He told investigators that he was with his girlfriend at church the morning after the women disappeared, which his girlfriend corroborated but then later recanted. And Cox had said that he was at his parents' house the night of the disappearance, which they confirmed. And eventually investigators couldn't determine if he was actually telling the truth or doing that thing that creepy criminals do where they just want to take credit for things for the fun of it, or I don't know, who knows why people.
What crimes had he been accused of?
He was a kidnapper and a robber.
Yeah. I mean, fits the bill.
Yeah, especially if he had a gun and was able to convince 3 women to get into his car.
Legal question: just because he has an alibi, you can't look any further into him.
I mean, I think that they investigated him and just came up with no hard evidence. I think that was the thing here is like there was another guy, Gerald Carnahan, who was also considered a suspect, who would eventually be convicted for a rape and murder. He had several other convictions and was tied with a motorcycle gang called the Galloping Goose. He had ties to someone named Stephen Garrison, who was in jail on an unrelated weapons charge, and said that he had overheard what happened to the women and was willing to cooperate with authorities in order to get leniency about getting out. And he had given authorities some information that hadn't been made public.
Oh.
But eventually just it didn't work out. This Garrison guy also had dated the mother of Dustin Rekla, who was Suzie's ex-boyfriend.
Oh.
Gerald Carnahan was the operator of a place called Diversified Plastics, which was in a nearby town, and former employees of another business that was tied to his called Springfield Aluminum claimed that he ordered an early cleanup the night that the women disappeared, and that he was seen carrying an unidentified object into the foundry that night. Employees claim that they observed what appeared to be human bones melting in the industrial vats the following days of the disappearance, but no physical evidence was found linking him to the case.
Oh, come on.
And one thing I think you're going to pick up on, Pooja and listeners, so many people claim to have information or see what's going on, or I'm not defending this guy at all because obviously he's done some pretty horrible things, but there are so many instances of people saying, I saw this happen that night. So I don't know what to believe because none of it lines up to a perfect suspect, which is probably why no one was put away for this.
Yeah, this is the kind of, what I was going to say before was this is the kind of thing that happens in a small town. It's kind of giving Circleville letters a little bit where you all start pointing the finger at each other, but nobody's really pointing the finger at anyone here.
Yeah.
It's actually the opposite. Everyone is, actually, someone is sweeping something under the rug.
I feel like we reference Circleville like so much.
Yeah, it like comes back to haunt us.
Yeah. It doesn't seem like any of those 3 women had enemies though.
That's the thing. The motives is this still the thing that just like confuses me. Does anyone have to have a motive to abduct women? I guess not, because it happens so often. You have to assume that it just happens because men like to have power.
Yeah, but especially if it was someone seeing these 3 women who there's no man at that house, so they take that opportunity.
But like to really like. Again, it comes back to who would have noticed at 2 a.m. in the morning?
Well, that's why I wonder if maybe the 2 women were followed, if maybe Suzie and Stacy were followed from a party.
By someone like an ex-boyfriend.
It would make the most sense out of all of these characters in this case for Dustin Rekla to have something to do with it, but he had an alibi, and it looked pretty solid.
Is he smart enough to do a clean job? He's an 18-year-old boy that...
That's the thing. Like, 18-year-olds are dumb.
And also, like, going back to just some pieces of the so-called evidence, a lamp being broken without the bulb being broken, like, what is that really?
I don't know if red herring is the right phrase, but that was maybe completely unrelated to their disappearance and was maybe broken, and there was no immediate need to fix it that night. And that just because they're gone, we're looking at the light being, the glass being broken and being on the porch as suspicious because of the events surrounding it.
Yeah. And look, I mean, I'm not trying to be terribly judgmental of this little southern town, but I guess Missouri's kind of in the Midwest. I
think of Missouri as the South.
Really?
We've had this debate before about the Solder children in West Virginia.
What about West Virginia is the South?
I think Missouri is also the South.
We can look at a map later. I don't know what Sherrill was doing, but it's like that could have been like that for weeks. I think the interesting thing though is that, like, I think of them all, Suzie is kind of the most like she's hard to miss.
A woman claimed that she had seen someone resembling Suzie looking distressed driving the green van. Mm-hmm. And this kind of made me, I don't want to be skeptical of witnesses, although I think I usually am.
I think you have to be skeptical of every witness here.
Well, she said that she heard a man say, "Don't do anything stupid, don't be silly." How are you hearing that? Like, from a car, unless you're like in the car.
Parked, I don't know.
I think she was driving. She said that the person who resembled Suzie was driving the car.
Oh, then why would you hear that?
I don't know. I'm having a hard time picturing it. There is another sighting of the women at a place called George's Steakhouse, and this was reported to be one of Sherrill's favorite restaurants. Uh-huh. So a server named Jane reported seeing the women between 1 and 3 a.m. on June 7th, so like still the night that they disappeared. Yeah. She claimed that the three arrived and left together, had breakfast. Suzie appeared to be intoxicated, and Sherrill was trying to calm her down. The server had said that she recognized Sherrill as a regular.
Okay. And
she also said that she reported seeing 3 men who made her feel very uneasy, and when the 3 women got there, she felt better because they seemed to stop bothering her. The men left, and then the women shortly after left, maybe about 10 minutes go by, and the waitress said that she saw the men talking to the women when she thought that they had left.
It's just the timing is a little weird with that, though.
They left Janelle's at about 2.
Right.
So it can't be 1 a.m.
Right.
So it would have to be like by 3 a.m. at the latest.
Right.
But I'm wondering if she's
they ate breakfast.
Yeah.
So.
But don't you think it'd be a little weird, Sherrill, if she was at the house and like not planning on going out? Isn't it weird that they would get home and immediately she would get dressed and go out for breakfast?
It is bizarre, and also the timing doesn't work out, and also like they drove to the diner. Like,
so then they would have to have been back. The timing doesn't work out. I'm thinking that maybe this waitress is mixing up when she saw them or saw 3 other women. I wanted to believe this case because it would make sense.
Yeah.
Like, oh, they ran into foul play, and that is a clear answer to what happened, but the timing doesn't add up for this scenario.
I'm buying the Gerald situation.
Gerald was the one who was tied with the motorcycle gang, and actually also forgot to mention this. Sherrill had reportedly done his hair at least once, and some sources say they may have had a brief relationship. It would make sense if Sherrill were the target for Gerald to have something to do with it, but why?
Who are these sources?
I'm assuming that sources is just other people in the town.
Yeah. Who are the ones where like someone said they saw them putting something in a fire and the bones were...
Oh, that was Gerald.
That was Gerald.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the one I believe. What do you think about Larry and Gary? You just like them or hate them? You love to hate them?
I just love the idea of two twin serial killers with the same similar names. I don't know why. New screenplay idea.
Twins?
Yeah. That kind of reminds me of those twins on Breaking Bad. Did you watch Breaking Bad? Whatever. I was kind of leaning towards it being them because he was a suspected serial killer. And I think the thing with the idea of the van having something to do with it and him having that car, I don't necessarily know if that's what I believe, but I thought that was a plausible theory.
Interesting that you trust the sighting of Suzie in the van over someone seeing someone melting human bones in a furnace.
It's not that I trust one more than the other.
Hey, anyone go missing recently?
It's just that I'm trying to address like multiple angles, like if that did happen versus another case happening. Do you remember the part about the psychic?
No.
Okay. Buckle up, buckaroo.
Look, I've been to a couple psychics in my life.
I've never been to one.
We've even talked about it on this podcast. What is the difference between a serial killer looking for recognition and a psychic looking to prove that they know something?
One of my favorite sketches on Reno 911 is Paul Rubens plays a detective who is always at the scene of the crime, and the cops think that he's really good. It turns out that he's the one killing.
Oh my god.
Investigators later received a tip from someone who either claimed to be psychic or had a dream or vision about the case. I mean, listen, story of my life. This tip claimed that the women's bodies were buried in the foundations of the south parking garage at Cox Hospital in Springfield. When they scanned, they found 3 anomalies that were about the same size and consistent with a grave location.
What?
2 of the anomalies were parallel to each other, and 1 was perpendicular. Springfield police said that the person who reported the tip didn't provide any actual evidence or logical reasoning behind this theory, and because construction on the parking garage didn't begin until September 93, which was 15 months after the women had disappeared. If they had been buried there, construction would have found something. And because digging up the area would have been costly, and because the tip didn't have actual hard evidence attached to it, investigators determined it to not be credible and did not move forward with it.
Well, I wonder where, though, those anomalies were. You know, like, was it in the foundation of the building?
It was in the foundations of the parking garage.
Yeah. That is tough, because it's true that they would have found it while digging up.
And how many times are psychics wrong?
All the time.
Like, do you remember that one woman, I forget her name, but she was on one of those shows. She was some psychic, and this woman was saying that, can you speak to my husband? And she was saying, yeah, your husband's like, the water.
No, see, I keep seeing him in water.
There's so much water. And she was like, my husband died on 9/11. And then the woman's like, yeah, because there was just so much water, the water hoses.
Yeah, I've had one psychic tell me something that felt totally right and have it happen, and one psychic just tell me something, and she got my other 2 friends completely spot on, but me, nothing she said has happened.
I'm not a complete non-believer.
Interesting.
I don't doubt that there's something out there, and maybe some people can tap into it, but I do think there are a lot of people who take advantage of vulnerable people.
Yeah.
And I think there are a lot of people who see a case and try to involve themselves somehow.
But
or think that they're like seeing something and like, oh, because I had a dream, that must mean it's real.
I mean, this is weirdly specific.
Okay, you got me there. That it's also that there's a couple anomalies, anomalies there.
It's so specific that it warrants the question, who is she? That, like, why didn't they investigate her?
Investigate her. It is weird, but if you don't have any evidence, can you really just go destroying a parking garage if you don't have actual proof and a confession? Yeah. What would your Uncle Bob's rating here be, by the way? I forgot we didn't do one for our Kurt Cobain episode, and I was a little disappointed that we forgot, because that was like the one time where I'd actually give them In the last
5
season.
We didn't do that?
No.
Oh.
I think we talked about it, but we didn't do it.
Yikes.
So
I was just thinking about this because I think there is a huge distinction between, like, someone who has the capability to investigate and an actual police person.
Mm-hmm.
I am actually kind of sure that maybe the police did everything they could because of how many people were contacted
Mm-hmm.
and how many people were, like, suspected.
Mm-hmm.
How much, like, kind of, yeah, just the range of information that we have about this case tells me that that's where, like, that's the police.
Mm-hmm.
And the next level of diving deeper is where this really failed.
I want to give them a fair grade too. I kind of feel like this is similar to, it's always going back to Shelley Miscavige, depending on how involved or not they were. Because on the surface, it does look like they did everything, and when there were people who were suspicious that they were interviewing and giving lie detector tests and looking into it, there are a lot of circumstances where you wonder, why don't they have that information, or that's not adding up, so are they covering something up? It seems like the consensus on this case isn't that they're covering anything up, but I do always have to kind of wonder that.
I have heard that theory that the police know and they're just covering it up, or somebody knows and they're like someone with the power to change things knows and they're just covering up. I think my opinion of the police is that they're like, why would they do that?
Yeah, it doesn't seem like they have anything to gain or lose.
Right.
It doesn't seem like someone who is involved was within the department,
right,
or someone who was so high up in the town that was affecting their wallets. You know what I mean? So, retired Sergeant David Asher, who led early investigations, believed that they did talk to the person or persons responsible, but didn't have enough evidence to convict. And former Deputy Chief Ron Worsham said that he believes one of them was being stalked for a period of time based on evidence that they were able to collect.
At a certain level, like, that's what you have to believe, because it doesn't make sense otherwise. Yeah, sure, people are randomly killed all the time, which sucks, but this doesn't feels too random and too...
I hate to say it, but if only one of them had been abducted, then maybe you could make that argument, or even two of them. But for three women to just disappear, and they weren't children, none of them were disabled or elderly. I'm sure they were women, but I'm sure that they could have put up a fight. Not to say that, like, disabled people or elderly people can't put up a fight, but against one person stalking. So I do feel like there has been two people involved in this case.
You mean like that kidnapped her?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is why I was maybe leaning towards the twin brothers.
It's just wild that there was no blood.
Yeah.
There was no...
They didn't take their cigarettes. They were all smokers. Their wallets were still there. Like, everything was still there. The dog was still there. Another thing that was kind of interesting, that I also think was just a coincidence, was the prank calls that they were getting.
All right, we didn't talk about the prank calls.
Yeah.
I feel like they're another red herring in this case. I will say that it is, like, it's not nice or a good sign that someone's calling you and saying, awful things, and shouting expletives at you. The description of the voice is teenish.
Yeah. Which I could see dumb teenage boys making prank calls. Dumb teenage boys extends to 19 and 20-year-olds.
Yeah,
so it could have been...
And that could have been her ex.
Yeah.
That could have been her ex. I'm open to that line of thinking.
And the fact that when Janelle and Mike Henson had gone there and had received a prank call, I don't think that would have anything to do with the disappearance, because why would someone who kidnapped them call the house if they're going to be gone?
Right.
That's weird.
Right.
Yeah.
To make sure someone's home. Because there's nothing to go on this case, all the little things that probably were normal, even like prank calls on the night of graduation,
are looked at with a magnifying glass as what deeper meaning does this have?
Yeah.
Yeah. I wish Cinnamon could talk.
Got any friends on the Rainbow Bridge that could talk to Cinnamon?
This is the second time I heard Rainbow Bridge today.
Oh, yeah. It's the metaphorical, figurative bridge where
animals go.
they cross from here to heaven. Chris has a very interesting theory that I like to believe, because I didn't grow up like believing in heaven really, that when you die, you go to heaven and all of your pets and your grandma and like everyone you've ever loved is just like waiting for you to hang out.
You're telling me this like this is new. I feel like this is just what Catholics believe. I think they went outside.
Because they knew.
They knew who was outside and it escalated
the
from
girls
there.
get home at 2 a.m. No, 2:30-ish.
Yeah.
They take off their makeup, get ready for the next day, put out their swimsuits.
Watch TV.
Watch TV.
Yeah.
Because the TV was still on.
The snow was on, so that maybe indicated they watched a movie or something. You remember the 90s?
I do. They didn't have like call tracking in the 90s.
They had an answering machine, but
answering machine.
It deleted as soon as it played a message, which seems stupid to me looking back.
Things weren't perfect.
Yeah, I guess you're limited on technology at different points in time.
Yeah, I erased messages all the time, accidentally. And then I have to tell my mom, I know.
You know what's funny? I feel like, so this is our 11th episode.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Hey, nice.
And we're going to do a lot more. We got a lot of good stuff coming. This might be...
Like Trump. We got a lot of
stuff coming. In all the cases that we've done so far, you and I have either had our own different opinions, but stuck by them, or we kind of came to a mutual conclusion. And I feel like for this one, we came up with nothing.
It's because it's something so major has happened. 3 women were abducted and killed, likely. And nobody has anything to say for it. And that is like ramming your head into a brick wall. That's what this case is. And it's really sad.
Yeah. No, for sure. Sherrill had another son who initially was a suspect but was ruled out pretty quickly. So, you know, I mean, losing your mom and your sister. One thing that was interesting, I don't know if there was anything more to this other than just that one family wanted to do this and one didn't. I don't know. Sherrill and Suzie have been legally declared dead, but Stacy has not.
That's right. I feel like it does have something to do with the family.
Yeah.
The McCalls probably are like, I'm not.
Less so that like there's evidence that she might be, that something different happened to her, and more just how they approached it. Yeah.
Yeah, and if Stacy were alive today, if she was 18 in 1992, that's 34 plus 18. She's in her 50s. And the thing is, they left the case open. They're both, even Sherrill and Suzie are declared dead, but they're still missing. So even that is unresolved.
I do agree with that one detective who said that he thinks that they come into contact with the person or persons who did it. Mm-hmm. And they just
throughout the course of
and they just don't have enough evidence to convict it. But regardless of who did it, why they did it, if they were around after the disappearance or whatever happened, it is a shame. And I think it's a mystery that gets muddied by just how many weird circumstances there were in it. But 3 women disappeared and were never seen from again. It's really sad.
Well, thanks for talking about that with me, Rachel.
Yeah, I'm sorry that I probably ruined your night. Probably a little depressing.
That's what we do here in the dark.
That's going to do it for today's episode. If you have any thoughts, tell us what you think happened to the Springfield Three. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Please like, subscribe.
Let us know if you have any mysteries or unsolved cases that you'd love us to cover. We're so excited to be back for season 2 of Two Girls in the Dark.
Until next time, we'll be waiting in the dark. I realized as soon as I did that when I was so